Hi, this is Sherry Veronica, and today is 6 months in Barbadian history where a quarter to a third of the population in Barbados was wiped out. There are no monuments. These things seem to want to be kept secret, but history shows that there was a time in Barbados where cholera reached your shores. The seamen came either from Jamaica, from one account, some say from St. Croix. They're still not sure, but they know that the clothing of the seamen were given to washerwomen in Bridgetown who laundered the clothing, and that is where it took hold. It ravaged the entire island. Although cholera is waterborne, the entire island have graveyards throughout where they were burying their dead. The churches were overwhelmed. We cannot take any more dead people and put them on our burial ground. So what happened? People were dropping the dead there, broke it down, dropping them on the side of the roads. So they had to dig holes, pits, and put them in the holes and bury them. Then someone had a brilliant idea that maybe because it was spreading throughout Barbados the way it was, maybe it was from the fumes. We were burning these people, and maybe the fumes were infecting other citizens. So they were in a quandary. They did not know what to do. They dedicated certain areas in Barbados, Fontebelle and Brandon, where they can do mass burials. But what happened also was people had the audacity to faint or to fall into a coma during this time when they had the illness, and that proved detrimental because when they woke from that coma or from their fainting spell, they found themselves in a coffin and they were like, why can't I stretch my arms out? Hello? Ring the bell. What's going on here? Why can't I stretch out? Why am I confined? Hello? And they were in a coffin. They were burying people and burning people who were still alive because they had the audacity to pass out during this epidemic. Okay, so cholera devastated Barbados. Hundreds of people on top of the people who were going to die. Anyhow, hundreds of people were dying daily. If this thing went on for 6 months, almost, from my calculations, almost 40,000 people were killed or died because of the cholera epidemic. It had to have been, the historians would say, 25,000, but they're revisionists. They don't want to deal with the impact of giving Barbadians the information, the real information that they need. Okay, so based on the oral testimonies and what was handed down orally, with hundreds of people dying every day, it had to have been close to 40,000 people who died from the cholera epidemic, which would make a third of Barbados' population vanished in 6 months. That's how the numbers would come out. But this is something that is not memorialized in Barbados, so there's nowhere you can really go to find out what happened. So every now and again, it is said, it is brought up in discussions, but it is something that happened in Barbados 6 months in 1854. The year 1854, you were still relatively new out of slavery. Your hygiene habits were not the best. Your aqueducts and the sewer systems or whatever you did there were not the best. So it was very easy for this waterborne disease to make its way in the water you drank and the food you ate. From my estimation, over 40,000 people died, which makes it a third of the population of Barbados. From your historian's point of view, about over 25,000 people died, which would make it a quarter of Barbadian population. Whichever it was, a quarter or a third, that was a huge amount of people who died in Barbados during that 6-month period from cholera. This is Shay Veronica.